Hey, what's up, guys? Tukey here, back again. This is Rebuilding Hockey Town, and let's get right down to business. It is the Eastern Conference Final against the Philadelphia Flyers. No changes to our lineup, as you would expect, so let's go ahead and take a look at the Philly team. Of course, the Grand Rapids Griffins also in their conference final. They would have just played game one. We'll take a look at what happened in a moment as you get a look at the ratings. Voracek, their best player still, which is fairly surprising, I guess. I mean, he does have a decent contract, if I remember right. But we'll take a look. They've been good enough to get to the conference final. Let's see what we are up against here. And we start on the top line with a name that we have seen quite a lot in terms of the scoring race, and for good reason. 99 offensive awareness. Just going to throw that out there. That would explain some things. The puck skills, the shooting, 99 offensive awareness. Nicholas Aube-Kubel? I'm going to say Aube-Kubel, who has 12 points in this postseason. The Flyers have played 12 games so far, so he's a point-a-game player. Lovely. He is on the top line with Claude Giroux, down to an 89 overall at 35 years old. Still a first-line guy, though. And, of course, Voracek himself, the highest-rated player on their team, which could be a good thing for us defensively. Of course, we have no idea what to expect there. Didn't mean to say of course multiple times, but you know what? That happens. Voracek with 11 points this postseason. That is a dangerous top line, no doubt about that. Second line, Matthew Strome, who has progressed to an 87 overall. I am stumbling over everything, but we will march on, damn it. And we'll make the most of this. We'll make the best of this. 8 points for Strome so far this postseason. Elias Anderson, also there, 13 points. He's progressed fairly well. And the right wing on the second line is Phil DeGiuseppe. Interesting. He has 4 points so far this postseason. Is there an injury, or is he legitimately their second line right wing? He had 34 points in the regular season. We move to the third line, which is better than the second line, at least on paper. You have Adam Henrique, who only had 2 points in the first 2 rounds of the postseason, but again, that might not be a good thing for us. If he gets his game going, we could be in trouble. 25 shots without a goal. He is centered by Stelio Mateos, the second-round pick, 41st overall in the first draft. And Sean Couturier still kicking around, only 4 points. I mean, defensively, that's a really good shutdown line. The point production hasn't been there so far, but if they turn their games around, we could be in for a bit of trouble. And then we get to the fourth line. Ryan McLeod is centered by Melker Karlsson with German Rubtsov, German. I'm going to call you German. Interesting team. Very interesting team. The top line is dangerous. The second line, intriguing because of Phil DeGiuseppe. The third line, a great shutdown line. And 2 young talents in McLeod and German Rubtsov on the fourth line. On defense, very well-rounded. I think is the best way to really describe this team. You have Ivan Provorov on the top pairing with Josh Manson. Second pairing of Rob O'Gara and Travis Sanheim, if the right trigger wants to work. And the third pairing, Samuel Morin with Radko Gudas. Okay, let's see. 5-star physical. 5-star physical. Only 3.5-star. I don't know who I'm confusing him with. There was another guy in the Philly system that is just a monster physically. Rob O'Gara, though, 4.5-star. Provorov, 4.5-star. Manson, 4.5-star. The Broad Street Bullies may be back in a certain way. The goaltender, we've taken a look at him before, thought about picking him up, and maybe we should have. It's Carter Hart, the main reason why they're at this stage. A .941 save percentage. Stolar's the backup. And in fact, DeGiuseppe is just flat out their second line guy. Travis Konechny down to an 80 somehow. You also have Mark Lemaire and Pascal Laberge as your healthy scratches. We are way too long into this video without actually having sim to game, so let's change that, shall we? It is time to begin this series. We, of course, have home ice advantage, and we will aim to make the most of it. Game 1, Flyers and Red Wings. Identical records in the regular season. We have home ice because of tiebreaker. Let's make the most of it. Damn it, first period. And that's an interesting start, to say the least. The top lines for both teams dueling, just slugging it out. Aube-Kubel, Nico Hischier. 7 seconds later, Voracek. And then just over 3 minutes later, Owen Tippett ties the game. The last 11 and a half minutes or so were pretty quiet. What a start to this first game. Second period, will it be as interesting? No, it won't. No, it will not. The offenses continue to quiet down a bit from both teams, and that sets up a very unpredictable third period. After a crazy opening 9 minutes or so, we haven't had anything, and the next goal could very well win this game. Under 6 minutes to go. I have a feeling that's going to be the case. The question is, who will it be? And we're going to have to wait until overtime to find out. But the good news is we're not going to have to wait for long. Let's go. Overtime in game 1. Who's it going to be? Come on now. We need a goal here. We need a big-time goal from one of our big-time players. This is insane, and there it is. There it is. Ask and you shall receive. Taylor Hall with the goal. Get rid of Taylor Hall. He's going to cause issues. Well, he's not causing issues for us yet, but he is damn sure still causing issues for the opposition. The game-winning goal, the GWG, in overtime of game 1. And we take the early lead in this series. Ian Scott, 36 saves, a 3-point night for both Tippett and Nico Hischier. All 3 goals from that top line. That is how you find playoff success. Of course, like I mentioned, there weren't any changes to the lines because of how we're balancing morale with power play time and the PK units, but we're continuing to just dominate so far in this postseason. Unfortunately, as well, down at the AHL level, Grand Rapids lost game 1 of their series, but plenty of time for them to bounce back. We've had so much success at the AHL level. It's time to continue that success here at the NHL level. Game 2. Let's get right into it. First period here. And it's Vic Marsh. Not too shabby. Just said morale-wise he was struggling. Disappointed in recent performances. Well, that's a hell of a way to bounce back. He gets the opening goal and the lone goal of the first period. Damn fine start for this team. Can we keep it up in the second period, though, is the question. And we can. Aaron Ekblad, the goal, despite his stats, maybe not the guy you'd expect to score from the point, given some of the other talent that we have. But he gets the job done, and we have that 2-0 lead heading into the third period. Let's go. Let's go. It's looking good. Anything can happen. I would definitely prefer that third goal to, just really put a cap on this and to make sure that we're good to go. And that's why Aube-Kubel with the goal. Under 5 to go. We have a late power play that we can't do anything with. Can we hold on? Yes, we can, thankfully. Ian Scott shuts the door. 29 save performance. 1 shot was the difference maker. 30 shots apiece, but that extra shot gets past Carter Hart. He still had a great game. But once again, Ian Scott, your first star, stepping up in a major way. This was the season that he had to prove himself. We got rid of Jari. We were talking about maybe getting Carter Hart, among other goalies. Ian Scott is stepping up, and Aaron Ekblad, of course, with the goal to win us this game. And we made the most of our home ice advantage. 2 games down, 2 games to go. Let's do this. How did the Griffins do in game 2? They got shut out 3-0. Well, I do want to take a look here because I would love for the Griffins to make it back to the Calder Cup final. Over in the West, Colorado and LA are tied. It was brought up in the comments section. It would be great to have a Colorado-Detroit final to renew that rivalry, but we'll see what happens. And actually, is Ruzicka a second-line guy? No, he's not, but I swear he was an 86. Maybe I am mistaken. Oh, let's see here. What can we do? What can we do to help out this team? Scratched forwards. We have Burkhoff. That's it. Defensively, not much can be done. Trying to get over to goaltending. Luukkonen still has a .929 save percentage. What can we do to improve this team? And that probably means giving Bergeron a better role. And that is exactly what we will do. So let's see here. We have goalie, Ein, and Bergeron. Wouldn't be a bad top line. We have Stewart, Rod, and Chow. Let's bump Ein to the second line. We'll have Bergeron, Stewart, and goalie. And then the better center here is actually Noah Rod. So we'll go with that. We'll go with that. And defensively, I don't really think we have to do much. Although Helmerson is up now to a top 6 defenseman. Damn. Oh my god, the turnover. Just the amount of changes that this franchise is going to have to undergo after this season is ridiculous. We have to win the cup this year. We have to. Because so many players are either going to graduate from the AHL or they're going to be traded because they're going to have to be. I don't know what this team will look like next year, but I know right now that we're still looking like the cup favorites. It is Game 3 in Philadelphia. Let's go. Can we keep up this hot pace? I certainly hope so. First period, and that is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Tommy Hagman and Taylor Hall, both from just about the same spot. Terrible angle, but I'll take it. Carter Hart has a rough start to this game. Hagman and Hall with the goals. Great start for this team. Second period, can we keep it up? Yeah, we can at least shut the door, which is just as good. And once again, it's a 2-1, or a 2-0 lead heading in to the third period. We'll hope that we avoid the 2-1 situation with an Aubé-Kubel goal. Man, I'm ruining this. I didn't even talk about Tommy Hagman's goal, and that's because it's kind of irrelevant now, thanks to Phil DeGiuseppe scoring and restoring that 2-goal differential. But unfortunately for the Flyers, it's going to stay that way. Ian Scott shuts the door. My God. Taylor Hall, the game-winning goal. A 2-goal game for Tommy Hagman. And while DeGiuseppe ruined the shutout, I don't care. The Detroit Red Wings have a 3-0 series lead. Hagman's 2 goals gets him the first star over Ian Scott. But you look at the records, you look at the team, who would have expected this? We are 1 game away from punching our ticket back to the Stanley Cup final. Unfortunately for the Griffins, they are pretty much screwed, but a conference final trip is still a successful season. At least I'd say, with some of the players they have in that lineup. Not as good of a team as it could have been. But we'll worry about them at a different time. All eyes are on the main team. It is Game 4 in Philly. Let's do this. First period, and that is exactly what the Flyers needed. A dominant first period. Not necessarily, actually. We beat them in shots, but Adam Henrique and Provorov get to Ian Scott early, but there's still plenty of time to go. Second period, can we turn it around? No, we can't. No, we can't. Carter Hart standing on his head to try and keep his team in it. Let's start the third period. We're on the power play early for an extended amount of time, and we couldn't do anything with it. That could have been the catalyst to start the comeback, and it didn't happen. And then Aubé-Kubel scores, and that will do it. The Philadelphia Flyers are not done yet. They will hand us our second loss of this postseason. We aren't in the final just yet. A 39-save shutout for Carter Hart. Unfortunately, I mean, you can't say that we didn't show up. We had a 39-shot performance. We just weren't able to beat Carter Hart. Simply put, he has the ability to steal his team games, and he did just that. The Griffins managed to stay alive, an overtime win against the Gulls in Game 4. So they're still kicking. We'll see if they're eliminated here because we're jumping right into it. It is Game 5, back on home ice. Let's see what happens here. And the Griffins are still alive. They have forced Game 6. Not too shabby. But let's go. We don't want to play this game with Philly. Let's just end this series right here and right now. First period here of Game 5. And it is scoreless, but a victory for Philly as they were outshot. Second period, that's what we needed to see. Taylor Hall continues to perform at a very high level, and the Red Wings are 20 minutes away. Let's go. Third period, we know the Flyers won't go down without a fight, especially that top line. We need an extra goal, maybe even 2, if we're going to hold on here. We're halfway through the third, though. Nothing has happened yet. 5 minutes to go. Can Ian Scott shut the door? Oh my God, De Giuseppe, you son of a bitch. Oh my God, come on, man. With 55 seconds to go, De Giuseppe scores. It had to have been traffic in front. You would hope. You would hope. We're going to overtime in Game 5. Let's do this. Will there be an early winner? Can the Flyers force Game 6? Power play for the Red Wings. Nothing happens. Philly, though, we kill off their power play. Halfway through the overtime, and Sean Couturier gets the goal. And the Philadelphia Flyers aren't done yet. Wow. 2-1 victory in Game 5. They hand us just our third loss of this postseason. Ian Scott, once again, the first star. But we're in trouble. We are in trouble as the Flyers force Game 6. Same situation for the Griffins. We're not making any desperation changes. We're going for it, man. We are going for it. Game 6. Back in Philly. We'll find out, too, if Grand Rapids managed to force Game 7 before I sim the first period here. I just want to double check. And there you have it. Grand Rapids out in Game 6. We'll hope for the reversal of fortunes with the Wings. First period of Game 6. And that is not what we needed. Adam Henrique, the opening goal. Right. I'm sweating a little bit here, guys. This could happen. This could happen. Second period, Tippett, Hischier, Dahlin, somebody. Oh my God. Carter Hart has found his game. And we're 20 minutes away from either this series being over, going to overtime, or having to fly back to Detroit to play a Game 7. Let's find out. Third period of Game 6. Can we find our offense? Can we get to Carter Hart? I don't know why. Oh, I didn't hit the Y button. Aren't I silly? Let's go. Come on. Come on. Our big players need to step up here. There we go. Andrei Svechnikov. All right. We have a chance, and there's Owen Tippett. 2 quick goals. We're capable of that at any time. And we have struck under 4 minutes to go. Will that be it? Nicholas Hague, the empty netter. Of all the people to get the empty netter, it's Nick Hague. And we avoid disaster. We beat the Philadelphia Flyers in 6 games. And the Detroit Red Wings are going back to the Stanley Cup final. What a comeback in that third period. 3 goals. Owen Tippett, your first star. Nothing but respect to Carter Hart as he willed that team back into the series. Unfortunately for him, it wasn't enough. And we are moving on. Now, I don't know. I'm assuming that their series isn't over, but let's back out. Will we find out the winner, or is that series still ongoing? Let's find out. And that series is still ongoing, but the Avs have a 3-2 series lead. All right, so we will get a little bit of an extra rest here. Let's take a look again. The lineup isn't going to change. It really can't because of the morale system. But Taylor Hall, 16 points, 13 for Nico, 19 points for Owen Tippett, shooting 20.8% this postseason. Unbelievable. What a guy. Oh man. You know what? I'm just going to throw this out there. If we finally get rid of Taylor Hall in the next offseason, do we go out and get Obey Kubel for the left wing? He's a right-handed shot, which I prefer them to be on the actual right side. But can you imagine that top line? Obey Kubel, Hischier, and Tippett, two guys with 99 offensive awareness. The second line, Andrei Svechnikov has been very quiet. Only 4 points, but he came up with a big-time goal there. Jonathan Dahlen only with 5 points and 7 for Vic Marsh. Yes, you have to factor in that there isn't much power play time there. Only Vic Marsh currently getting power play time from that line. But still, you'd expect a little bit more from Svechnikov and Dahlen. But again, if they turn it on in the playoffs, or not in the playoffs, but if they turn it on in the Cup final, we're going to smoke whoever we face in the Stanley Cup final. Third line, Pascali with 8 points. Same for Ruzicka, 6 points for Cole Lind. Tommy Hagman with 5 points on the fourth line. 3 for Benoit Garou and 3 for Robert Thomas. Defensively, Philip Hronek with 11 points. Only 2 for Ekblad, but we got him to be a shutdown defenseman and to allow Hronek to dominate the game offensively, and that is exactly what's happened. Nick Hague, if I had to name a captain, he's the guy. He is the guy. It was such a tough decision to pick between him and Cal Foote, and while I still honestly wouldn't mind getting Cal Foote for this series, I mean, it's not going to happen based on our defensemen, but a 91 overall, fingers crossed he doesn't jump to a top 2 defenseman, because this is the perfect setup the way it is right now. Nick Hague, what a guy. And I'm telling you flat out, if he becomes a top 2 defenseman, I will probably trade Ekblad or Hronek. Nick Hague is a staple of this series. Jonathan Dahlen, 3 points this postseason. Not to overlook him, I'm sitting here just hyping Nick Hague to the moon. Dahlen is still the man, and it'll be interesting, too, to see if he stays as a top 4 defenseman. And then you move on to the third pairing. 2 points for Hughes, a -2. Not much from Liljegren. Again, it's the last season for both of those two in Detroit. We'll see what we'll see what they can do. We'll see if they can walk away with a Stanley Cup ring on their finger. Ian Scott, a .935 save percentage, a 1.77 goals against average. What a beast. What a team this is. Let's find out. Who's it going to be? Who are we playing in the Stanley Cup final? Can the LA Kings force Game 7? Or will we get that matchup that we wanted against the Colorado Avalanche? And we have our answer, baby. The rivalry will be renewed in the next episode. It's the Avs and the Red Wings in the Stanley Cup final. It's going to be a bloodbath, and I cannot wait. And I hope you guys feel the same. That will do it for this one, though. If you did enjoy the episode, of course, make sure to hit that like button to help support the video and the channel. It is greatly appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't already to continue following this series and others. Follow me on Twitter at Toogie24 for updates. You can also join the notification squad to make sure that you never miss a video. I'll see you guys in the next episode of Rebuilding Hockeytown, where we take on the Colorado Avalanche in the Stanley Cup final.